few weeks away from spring, we thought it might be a good time to check in with Al Dutcher to see how precipitation this winter affected drought conditions in Nebraska and what farmers and ranchers might be able to expect as temperatures warm up over the next couple of months.
We only got a couple areas that are close to normal right now, and that would be in the southeastern part of the state, particularly around the Nebraska City area, a little bit up around just a little northwest of Valentine, and some of that's a reflection of the October precipitation. We still are carrying a significant deficit from the northeast all the way through the southwest, where we're running 2 to 4 inches behind normal since October. So in reference in terms of percents of normal, almost mirroring like we seen last year at the same time, where we were really concerned about the northeast. We kind of expanded that. And the other thing we have to remember is we're carrying those deficits from the previous cropping season. So we are on top of these deficits. You're going to add another 14-inch departures for the previous cropping season up in the northeast, 9 to 12 across the west. That's why we think that this drought is going to be with us, at least in a hydrological sense, because it's going to be very difficult to overcome those significant deficits.
Do the models show anything as far as precipitation or moisture once we get closer to that planting day and beyond?
Well, that's the hope. Yeah. These two big storms did miss. The one missed us to the south, but it laid out a fairly decent foundation of snow. So we have to have it wet to the south of us. We got that. There's signs that we may see a couple more of those move through, but as we progress through the spring, the jet stream should start lifting northward. As long as these lows are aggressive coming in the western United States and intense as they were with these two blizzards to the south of us, that moisture will help feed these systems and we won't dry slot as much. And hopefully we'll see some generation of this significant moisture, and we're going to need it. We expect to receive 4 inches in western Nebraska over the next 2 months. In southeast Nebraska, close to 6. So we got to maintain normal, plus try to cut into at least 50% of those deficits before we get into planting season.
Talk about planting season. Last year, so many farmers were in the field so early because it was so nice, so warm. The soil temps were so much above average. So what do you expect to see in that regard this year?
Well, we're certainly different this year.
Yeah.
Based on all the models I can see, we are not going to see the warm-up like we've seen last year. I expect we're going to be below normal on average for at least the first 15 days of the month, and there's some signs that that may continue all the way through March, and that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. We need to stay cooler than normal, get this moisture into the profile, help to get at least something to rely on, and then pray that the cooler conditions will generate, with that snowpack to the north of us and the warm conditions to the south, will generate some big thunderstorm activities moving into April and May, really start to build up our profile. So that's our only hope. Otherwise, we're going to be living rainfall to rainfall, especially in our dryland environment.
Quickly, any hint of what the summer might hold?
Well, that's the big question. I'm watching the equatorial Pacific. We've had a cold pool of water there. One thing about that is it does lead to severe weather events in the spring. That's the high probability in the Central Plains. The problem is if it continues into the summer, we tend to see a drier pattern established in the later half of the summer, and that's what I don't want to see. Secondarily, the last thing we need to pay attention to is the Central Rockies snowpack. We need to get that up near normal because that will help hold the heat from the southwest building into our region as we progress through the summer.